sounds like the Lions are signing Graham Glasgow to a 3-year, $20 million contract. And we definitely have to react to that because, in my personal opinion, it was very important that they re-sign him, and I'm glad that they got the deal done. He had a great season last year, and what is it? It's $6.5 million AAV, if I'm doing the math correctly, or close to it. A little under $6.5 million, which I think is a friendly deal for Graham Glasgow personally, especially what you would have to give Jonah Jackson if you were signed him to a long-term deal. But I want to go around the room with this one. Stick, how are you feeling about Graham Glasgow being re-signed, and how important is he to the future success of this team?
I just clap my hands, man.
Beautiful.
We're about the business. That's what it's about. What's the strength of this team?
O-line.
What's been the benchmark of this team?
O-line.
What's been what they built around this entire team?
O-line.
What's Jared Goff best at when he's protected?
By the O-line.
Play action pass too. They are the key to everything that is great about the Detroit Lions on offense.
Facts.
You could take all your skill players, you could take all the speed you want. It doesn't matter if people are pressuring the quarterback. You could take a great running back like Saquon Barkley. It doesn't matter if you don't have a line to block for him. And we've seen it with a line. It don't matter if Craig Reynolds is running the ball. You can get a 100-yard rusher, which how many years the Lions go without a 100-yard rusher?
I think 4.
Reggie
like
Bush was the last one before we
Yeah.
broke that barrier a couple years ago. So now Craig Reynolds is doing it. So this is what I love about Brad Holmes. This is what I loved about the Penei Sewell pick when they took that. They established an identity, and it's a Dan Campbell identity. We're going to punch you in your mouth, and we're going to keep punching you in your mouth. And in fourth quarter, guess what? You've been punched in your mouth so many times by these big-ass goons that we call linemen that you break and you wilt, and that's what these guys do. And you need parts like this to continue that. You need somebody that can play the guard and the tackle position. Maybe slide over to center sometimes when you need him when Ragnow's hurt, even though Ragnow is a beast. He's an interchangeable part of this great offensive line, and you just keep this train going, and everything else will take care of itself.
I could not agree more about that. Very well said. Graham Glasgow was I'm trying to think of a word that's better than important, but especially with what happened with the injury to Vaitai, if they didn't have Graham Glasgow, especially given the fact that Jonah Jackson also missed 5 games, this offensive line could have looked very, very different. Spenny, your twin, how are you feeling about the Graham Glasgow signing?
I'm extremely happy for it, and like I said, I had this information because we do share the same father, obviously. So I had this information, but I couldn't let it get out because he told me to keep it on wraps until it was official.
Right.
Even though he let Shefty break it. Like, come on,
That's
brother,
crazy.
what are we doing? But no, this was my number one priority for the Lions on guys they need to bring back was Graham Glasgow. And Stick talked to it, the versatility he has on that offensive line of where he can play any interior offensive line spot, whether it be right guard, left guard, or center, is extremely, extremely valuable, especially. Like, we love Frank, but he's only got 3 toes, so he might need a game off here or there. And when you have a guy like Graham Glasgow who can slide over and has fantastic chemistry with Taylor Decker, he formed great chemistry with Penei Sewell. Like, Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnar are 2 of his best friends. They all came into this team, into this city around the same time, dealt with the hardships, and now are reaping the glory of a great franchise. So I'm excited to see what he can do, and I'm really glad they got the deal done.
Yes, and this is something you just need to run back, like we talked about earlier. The offense was good last year, like historically good in some areas. So, I mean, you're getting Ben Johnson back. You know that. The cohesiveness is going to be there. These guys are spending another year understanding blocking assignments. I mean, when you get a crew like this and you get that unity, that's why I was so disappointed they let this opportunity slip away from them this year about getting to the Super Bowl, because it's hard to capture lightning in a bottle like that. It's hard to keep culture going when you get so close and don't get through. We've seen it with so many teams. Like, look at the Buffalo Bills. They're mortgaging everybody now. That whole crew's out of there, and they had their window. And I don't want that window to close on these guys. So what Brad Holmes is doing right now, extending the window a little bit with extending his strength. Because, damn, man, it felt like they were such a good team last year. Everybody got along. The locker room was good. The mission was good. And then they just couldn't get it done in that second half.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it was still a wildly successful season.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, of course,
Amazing season.
And I was very disappointed in that NFC Championship game loss as well. But one of the guys that can help you get back is Graham Glasgow, and Hoof-Hearted brings up a great point, which I think we all agree with, and has been touched on briefly even in this segment. Glasgow was a required re-sign because he's the backup center, and Ragnow is a bit of a question mark from here moving forward, and that's 100% fair. And Terrell from FL, the word you're looking for is indispensable. When I couldn't find the word that was better than important, but yes, I would agree.
Shout out to Terrell. Me and Terrell had some words one time on a post-game show, and I called him a bitch, and he's back, and he's not a bitch. Me and Terrell have talked since then. He's a great fan, man. And we appreciate everything he brings to the network. So respect to you, Terrell.
Yeah,
he set me off about Jared Goff. Oh my God, it was right when that peak when Goff had like a couple good weeks, and then all of a sudden he had a couple bad weeks, and everybody went from God to bum, and it's like, oh, come on.
That's how it goes in this town.
Yeah.
No, I like Terrell in the chat. I think he makes a lot of good points, and whenever he calls, he's one of our better callers. But KG, I got to go to you as well. How are you feeling about the Graham Glasgow re-signing, and how important is he going to be to this team moving forward?
I mean, I'm happy about it. It was expected, at least from my point of view. It's just where the league's going, man. Your guards need to be versatile. You need to be able to play center. You need to be able to fill in at the other guard spot if need be, and that's strictly what they signed him for, is off the versatility. I think that pretty much answers whether they'll re-sign Jonah Jackson going forward, and this also, I think, opens the door for a guard to be picked in the draft. So but I like the signing. Graham deserves it, man. I'm glad he's here, and let's keep this train rolling.
Absolutely. Graham Glasgow on one side and Cooper Beebe on the other.
Who
says no? Who says no?
knows?
But here's the reality too when it comes to the Detroit Lions. I don't think Jonah Jackson is an important re-sign at all, and I'll tell you why. Because by the numbers last season, Jonah Jackson was your worst offensive lineman who started, and he was also your least durable. He missed 5 games. Graham Glasgow was your best and most durable guard last year, and he, when asked to play center, he did it, at least at a fill-in level way. I don't want him to play center moving forward. I'd rather have him play guard, but still, he is capable of playing center. And Frank Ragnow, if you're counting on him to play all 17 games next year, I have got a bridge to sell you somewhere. I'd like to see it happen, but Graham Glasgow is most certainly one of the most important signings on this team. He was a top 10 rated PFF guard last year, and he wasn't even supposed to be the starter. I know that counting on Vaitai was another thing. I got a bridge to sell you. And they didn't, and the Lions, to their credit, they didn't do it. Graham Glasgow, to me, he was every bit as important of a free agent signing as David Montgomery was. Yeah. And David Montgomery was fantastic for this team. But if they did not sign Graham Glasgow, if they would have gone after some replacement level guard or not even filled the position, this team, I don't know if they even make the playoffs.
What do you think about the price tag on this, though? Do you think it's a good price tag?
Yeah. $6 million a year, roughly. Yeah,
I'm good with that.
Right
sure.
on par.
You're good with that?
Yeah.
What would you have to pay Jonah?
Probably 9, 10 around there.
Maybe
we gonna see.
Maybe more.
Selfishly, I want Jonah to get re-signed because me and Easy then can beat Graham Glasgow and Jonah Jackson for Halloween. It should be awesome. But I don't think it's gonna happen. And I've said multiple times, you move on from Jonah, you re-sign Graham, you draft a guard or an interior offensive lineman to fill Jonah's spot.
Yes, and Brandon Katz. Jackson was mediocre in pass protection, but he was very good as a run blocker. He basically said like that I'm at a clown take or everything. And here's the thing.
You guys let this Katz guy get in your head, man.
Katz has every right Katz has every right to comment on the show, and I actually want to clarify something. I'm not saying Jonah Jackson was bad. Jonah Jackson was a very good run blocker. It's just this was an elite offensive line, and Jonah Jackson is somebody that you would have to pay to a long-term deal after just having him on a third-round rookie contract for all of those years, and he was the worst offensive lineman on the team last year as a starter. The worst of a great group, but still the worst. Yeah. And Graham Glasgow at a little over $6 million a year, I would take that any day of the week over Jonah Jackson at 9, 10, or even 11, 12. That's not even a question to me, and this offensive line is going to be good again. And I think it's something that they're also going to address in the draft. Like I said, give me Graham Glasgow on one side and Cooper Beebe on another and inject that right into these veins. Right into these veins. Because this offensive line is even going to be better next year. Because I'll tell you what, as a rookie, I would take what either Jackson Powers Johnson, who is a pipe dream, by the way,
Yeah.
or what Cooper Beebe will do as a rookie over anything that Jonah Jackson did in his entire career.
The Jets just re-signed Greg Zuerlein, the kicker, for $8.4 million for 2 years.
Greg the leg, right?
Good Lord.
$4 million a year. That's not too.
Would you pay that for a good kicker?
For a good one, yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'd pay that for maybe like Harrison Butker or Justin Tucker or something like that.
Yeah.